I wanna paint and play music today. Cause it gives me a joyful feeling, and I want everyone to feel this way. Hello and welcome to the show. Today I am going to be taking you on a trip to the Eastern Sierra of California. We're going up to the White Mountains to explore and paint a tree called the Bristlecone pine, the Great Basin Bristlecone pine tree. It's a scraggly, old looking, gnarly, twisted, dry, brittle, shrubby looking thing. But it's special because these trees, this bristlecone tree, is part of the bristlecone tree tribe, which are the oldest living things on earth. So let's paint. Come join me. I'm using my Arches paper that I love so much. Yes. And I am going to paint out of my head, from my head, from my knowledge of these trees. Like I said, these are twisty, turny, gnarly, shrubby looking trees. So let's get gnarly and twisty and turny and shrubby with these things. Throwing in a lot of color from the get-go. Thinking about composition. This tree is taking up the middle of the paper. Okay, does that look like a tree? I don't know. It looks like a gnarly something. It looks like a gnarly some kind of a shrub. I don't have a good brown, and that's okay though, because you don't just, when you're painting and you see a brown tree, you don't just paint it brown. That's not fun. You don't paint it exactly the way it looks. That's not fun either. Painting is inventing. Painting is creating. Painting is your chance to tell the world, I see it this way. But if you are to look at these trees, you go, when you're done, Google these things. They're pretty alive, even though they look like a shell. They're pretty alive on the inside. And the inside is always begging to come outside. I said these things are old. They're the oldest living things. There's record of one of them that's called the Methuselah tree. It's in the White Mountains and in the Inyo part of the Eastern Sierra. This Methuselah tree is almost 5,000 years old. It could be older. They don't know for sure, but their dating says, the dating that they've done on it says that it's almost 5,000 years old. The oldest living thing on the planet that we know of. This tree. And it looks like a little shrub. Maybe that's the secret to being old for a long time, is not taking up too much space and being the kind of thing that can be easily overlooked. The fads come and go. The loud things that make a splash, they're just blips in time. But the things that last are things that don't take up too much space and just exist quietly somewhere. Go find a place where you can exist that nothing else can. That's what these things do. They live in a barren wasteland, an almost barren wasteland, an ancient seabed. These white mountains they have white dolomite, old seashells all over the place. Put a little green in there. All over the ground. And almost sometimes it looks like snow. It looks like the desert. It looks like nothingness. And that's where these trees thrive. Put a little blue on there too. Just in one of these. That's it. Okay, before I get too carried away. The trees aren't bare. They do have needles. They are pines. But not a lot. Not a lot of needles. But a few. So let's do a few. Let's do patches of needles. Like right here. There's a patch of needles. Look like this. Patch there. Let's lighten it up a little bit on the side of it. That's what I'm talking about. Patches of needles like that. Just little clumps. Little clumps. Little clumps of needles. Just a few. It needs those needles to breathe. Yeah. Give us air. While I'm painting a tree, in the background I can hear somebody grinding out a tree stump in my neighborhood. And it makes me feel bad because when I bought this house, I had to do the same thing. I had to cut down a couple of trees and grind them down, and I don't want to do that. I felt like it was such a mistake because trees are our blessed holy things that give us oxygen and allow us to breathe and live and survive. So I made up for it by planting over 20 new trees. Little trees. Kind of like these, but younger. Okay, I'm painting sky around my branches. And everything is going to bleed together. And that's just the way it's going to be. So, it's the way it's going to be when you work quickly and you work with wet paint. It's all going to bleed together. But you know what? I'll bet if you could talk to this Methuselah tree, it would say that's what happens in life. That's what happens with time. Time just all bleeds together. I've seen things come and go, kings and queens and empires and messiahs. Speaking of Messiah, the Methuselah tree, Methuselah is a Bible character. Well, I don't know, would you call it a character? A person from the Bible. The person who lived to be 900 and something years. Do some mountains in the distance. let's do some ground. I have this tan color. Put some red in it. Make it purple a little bit. Move the brush around a lot just to get some great texture. Some dry, some wet. And before I do anything else, I should finish the sky. Put a little love into the sky. Methuselah tree. I'm not painting the Methuselah tree. Its location is anonymous. If you knew where this tree is, then a lot of people would probably know, and they'd want to go and take a piece of the tree and take it home with them. That's what sucks about people. We can't be trusted. We can't be trusted with things that need our protection in the natural world. That's why we need protectors. Government agencies, groups of volunteers. I remember when the U.S. government was furloughed and Yosemite National Park was open to anyone who wanted to go for free, and they went and they trashed the place. They didn't take their trash home. I'm sure there were some good people who did, but the vast majority of people just trashed it. They took advantage of something that was free and they didn't take care of it. So how can we be trusted? We need regulation sometimes. We need the Lorax to speak for the trees. Swatch of orange, brown, maybe some of this. Ooh, hey, I'm okay with this brown. I like the way that looks. Don't go too crazy, Brett. Just a little bit. Don't go too crazy. Just a little bit. Okay. I'm going to let this thing dry a little bit. Play a song, and then I'm going to come back and pep it up with some darker notes. Speaking of notes, what is the song I'm going to play today? What's the song that goes with the oldest living tree? I think that because it's this tree that doesn't look like much. It's a small shrub and it's all weathered and gnarly and knotty. It doesn't stand out in a crowd. I think I'm going to do the song Smoke and Mirrors because it's a song about not chasing the things that glitter so much, that have the facade. The bright, shiny things, because they can be mirages. They can deceive you. Your eyes can fool you. Your mind can fool you. Your heart can fool you. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking about leaving. Yeah, you're thinking about leaving. You wonder what you're missing. You don't see me. Yes, you're looking right through me. Please be wise. It's easy to be fooled by your own eyes, baby. Be wise. Don't let smoking mirrors make you cloudy. Truth you cannot see is hard to find. If you think you're better off without me, remember what we had before you leave. It all behind. Love is blind when it's new. Your eyes play tricks on you. Yes, your heart plays tricks on you. Soon the dream gets played out. Baby, it's real now. Yeah, it's real now. Please be sure. Think about how much it makes me hurt, baby. Be sure. Don't let smoking mirrors make it cloudy. The truth you cannot see is hard to find. If you think you're better off without me, remember what we have before you leave. It all behind. It all behind. Truth you cannot see is hard to find. Don't let smoking mirrors make you cloudy. That's right. Don't do it. Don't let it make you cloudy now. Let's get back into this. Darker, smaller brush. More precise. Ooh, it's still really wet. And that's fine. And that's okay. That's okay. Twisted. Twisted up. Tangled. I love trees where the top of the tree looks like roots. Where the top What's above ground mirrors what's below ground. I love people where what's outside mirrors what's inside. Those are rare trees and those are rare people. I love all people, you know. Most people, I suppose. Not all people. But then there's those rare ones. And those rare ones that are beautiful inside and out are the ones you want to attach yourself to. And you want to have them in your life forever. But you can't have any one person. People belong to themselves, and the really beautiful ones belong to just the great tradition of love. And if you really want to be a beautiful person inside and out, then you need to give yourself to the great tradition of love. Well, how do you do that? Well, I can't tell you how to do that. There are tons of people and religions and lots of places you can go to get the answer for that. You just have to try. Okay, it needs to get a little darker in some of these places, just to give it some depth. Yes, that's the kind of depth I'm talking about. Woo! Somebody in a plane is flying over the ocean at a low altitude. Using blue on these leaves just to punch them up a little bit. Just to get them a little dark. If you like trees, I suggest you come visit California. We have the tallest trees, the oldest trees, the biggest trees, the weirdest trees, trees that aren't trees, other things that want to be trees, trees that don't want to be trees. California is a tree state. Ooh, I like that green. I'm going to put something really dark in here though. Yeah, against that. I want to work on those mountains back there, just to spice them up a little bit. Work on this fun foreground. Tackle it with some the same green that's in the tree. Make this root that's sticking above. What do you call a root that's sticking above ground? Some people are like that too. Those are the soulful people. When they're young, you call them the old souls. Then when they're old, you just call them so soulful. Or maybe when they're old, you call them a young soul. Fun. I do need one color though to just pop out. Maybe it's a purple, just to help this tree pop out from, yeah, because it's blending too much. And my brush is too small. Just when I have the idea. There we go. Brush is too small. Just a little purple. Just a little purple. Let it pop out. I think that's working. Yeah, I think it's working. Okay. I will sign it because that's what I do at the end of the show. And I really appreciate you watching. Go out there and find a special tree. Paint a picture of it. And keep painting and keep creating. Thank you for watching. See you next time.